Because I've known Ramses and watched Ramses play for months and months and months, and he was always the Huskar, the Slark, the Wraith King, the crazy like CIS hero kind of player.
Yeah, but you want this. You really do. This is one of the things that I've looked at with Team Spirit in sort of prepping for Shanghai and doing their team preview is they really need stability from that other core position. Iceberg is such a playmaker. He's such a go for it kind of player. But I mean, as simple as it's going to sound, one of the things that you notice in watching a lot of Pro Dota is that you can make space for one core, but not two. And so you really need one of your core position players to be very stable. And I think that they're moving in that direction with Ramses lately.
It's definitely been going that way. And you kind of mentioned Iceberg. For me, when I first started watching him a couple of months ago, he always reminded me of QO. The old
Absolutely.
The old adage, feast or famine mid laner. That's how Iceberg is to me. When he was playing OD before anyone else played OD, he was always just going in as hard as he could onto these mid lane players. But
you are one of like two or three analysts in all of Dota that would make that analogy. And then we're going to get a first blood here. Oh, and Beastmaster he is such a good hero in this game to get first blood on, just because his viability in the off lane is now just about secured.
I mean, you look at this, and this is what I'm saying. I think the Radiant should be worried about this Beastmaster. They have to have the Chen rotating to the safe lane. And that means that mid lane's going to be left alone. Puck to go into a 1v1, except it's not a 1v1. Always want to flies here with the Arctic Burn, and Vasili's not going to have a great time. Already forced away from this mid lane creep wave, and Iceberg says, thank you very much, I'll just get the full wave of creeps, I'll deny them all out as well. So far, Team Spirit off to a pretty good start. A little puck. Well, Afterlife's going to trade hits out with Fervian. Look, what did Rubik do against the Beastmaster? Well, the Morphling's level 1 with
okay,
more...
I'm back. My internet just took a dump.
Oh,
Nice. Already I'm not. Oh boy.
Oh, you're fine. Sound a little bit laggy, but it should clear up. But, yeah, Rubik is trading hits with Afterlife and realizing he cannot do this without the help of Morphling. But Morphling can't necessarily help until he's level 3, really, because the damage
Alright,
away
we back,
from level
buddy?
1. Good. Can you hear me? Yeah. Nahaz, can you hear me? Yeah, Nahaz might have died. Oh, well, quickly, please. Hopefully. What? Oh, Nahaz. Nahaz, please. I beg. All I want is a professor. That's all I want from this. Oh, Morphling 9 and 8, Invoker 9 and 4, 7 and 3 Gyro. Ramsey's not last hitting spectacularly well, but he does have an extra half a wave to go through. Nahaz, can you hear me? Your internet died. Oh. Like I'm alone until Nahaz fixes his wonderful Canadian internet as Afterlife with a DD rune. Upsword placed down pretty nicely there up on that ramp, but it's Roger. Comes in with a clap, and that Ursa Bear slows down the Beastmaster. TP for the next profit, and they're committing so heavily. Afterlife is going to try to deny himself to the Roshan, and he might be able to do it, and he does! Oh, Pro Dota, I said they needed to rotate heroes in. The Chen and Furion both come to help. But Afterlife with the little silky moves gets into the Roche pit and denies himself out. See if, try this again. Play this time. This time it'll be good. Top the lane we haven't really looked at. Ramsey's on the gyro. He's farming away. Goblak has got those brown boots, but it's mid lane where Vasily, he's used his phase shift and he doesn't have an orb. They need one more hit in, but the salve will get him back up to a decent amount of HP, but Iceberg still gets in with a kill. Invoker getting up to brown boots, about 300-400 gold with the gloves of haste coming out on the courier already. Midas well on its way. There's his right. Yeah, Iceberg has the hand. Spirit pretty much winning all of these lanes. Sunlight, fair enough, the Smallfling can decently down on his bot lane, but Afterlife is already sitting at level 3. That's where you're really going to start getting worried about this Beastmaster. If he goes for an Iron Talon, which I don't think he necessarily needs to, he can go back into the jungle and farm himself through a couple of little camps. Moment. going to be all down to this Chen. If Roger can make good rotations and set up kills on the Invoker with the help of Nick's Prophet, that's where Prodota can really try to leverage themselves some kind of advantage or at least balance out this game a little bit. That sounds a little better.
Yes, all right. We're sorry about that, guys. I have no idea why Skype just goes to take a massive dump on me, but here we go.
Should be good now. You sound a little bit quieter though now for some reason.
Oh well, God forbid.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh yeah. Nah, it's being quiet. Oh wow. First time in history.
Yeah, I don't think that's too big a concern. Spirit though, getting pretty much exactly what they want out of this early game. They're probably going to get a kill on this puck again here.
Yeah, with the ult being used aggressively there, the TP comes in and Sprout is down, but Vasily still dead. Team Spirit will turn and just find more. Under this tier 1, they're going to get another. Gold Black does drop, but it's a double kill for Iceberg. Looking for a third. Forge Spirit tanking up on this tier 1. They'll try and bail out, but Roger, he's ready with the Chen. They get him, but full embrace, keeping Iceberg healed up. I don't think they'll be able to really get this Invoker out of there with a good body block to those Treants and Chen creeps.
That's a nice surround there, and that's where you do have to wonder. Get that 1 point in Wex, man. Maybe you live there.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Afterlife, no waveform, sunlight. It's a difficult laning stage for PD. You know, we saw the 4-man rotation down to the bot rune, and having Afterlife deny himself to Roshan, that was killer for them. Having Chen and Furin actually move themselves across. And then this puck, you know, after the first orb aggressively to get last hits, you've got to know that it's gonna be a mistake. Having this Electric Burn, having the Cold Snap there, one phase shift at level 1 is not going to save you from this Forge Spirit and Invoker.
Well, that's what really hurts though is the puck, because you know that you have the more aggressive support heroes and the more aggressive offlaner on your side at this point in the game, so you feel like you can get away with stuff like that. But you know, Iceberg off to just too good of an early start in lane, and Spirit looking to be aggressive as usual. Now that Beastmaster Roshan and I was so huge.
He's hasted, but he's trapped. Roger is walking in the wrong neck of the woods and always want to fly. He's trying to flap his wings to get away, but the orb will finish him off as that spot finally gets his name up on the board. But guess who's joins in? Surrounding the gyro. He's the hero in this game apparently. Turns up at the top room spot, and they're just going to clear up house. Vasily, no life. And honestly, no pride left after being destroyed. At least they get the Invoker, and now they turn back with Sunlight's Morphling. Looks like PD might be able to get a little bit more out of this than we thought, because Goldblack is diving in deep to get Fervian, and they'll find it with a Forge Spirit hit. Yep, they get him. But Sunlight, he'll get more out of this than anyone expected. Clears up and finds himself a good grand. 1,000 gold saved up in the bank, and Team Spirit, they lose, what, 4 heroes there?
Under attack.
Just emblematic of how, I mean, the Dota 2 teams are just so much better now than they were a year and a half ago. That a year and a half ago, you just so rarely saw both carries TPing to the tier 1 tower at 6, 7 minutes into the game, but now it's commonplace. And both the Gyrocopter and the Morphling having those good early starts in game, you got to be able to leverage that for your team.
Getting this one to live in level 6 is going to be pretty huge as well, because this is where Chen really starts to look to get one of his little peaks. You know, he's getting closer to level 6, he's got the triple creeps out. Himself into these tier 1s shortly, just to help with Nature's Prophet being in.
Yeah, really big deal that both teams supports, and this is something I think makes CIS Dota really interesting to watch because of a lot of the early skirmishes and the XP changes. Supports will get their level 6 pretty early on in these games.
You look at Goblak, this potential Spirit's close to the swap as well.
Yeah.
Brought up the hero levels, and I'm kind of surprised. I expected, you know, one support to be near level 6 and the other one to be, you know, level 3. But it's going great for both of these teams, I guess, with the early brawling. These early little kills, fair amount of experience. Afterlife, got the Raw. Looking into himself, and he turns it back on the Fervian with a Sunstrike there. It's good damage, but I'm not going to be able to pick up a kill. That Aurora is actually stolen back, and Fervian turns it on his head. And again, this rotation in, the TP out from Ahmo. Sunlight being able to join in with the waveform. ED are so quick on their feet, and I think that's something that's great for them. The reaction times been spectacular so far. There's always one to fly being trapped up with a coil. Really much chance of surviving through it.
And the way that went was really unfortunate for Beastmaster. He knew he had a roar on the Rubik, he knew he didn't want to get it stolen, but he saw that there were just the heroes there, and so he could Sunstrike, but never really got the axes or any other damage on the Rubik to kill him. And you just don't expect, I mean, even in this kind of a game, you don't expect the supports to be that leveled at this point in the match.
Thing is, though, Iceberg got himself a 7-minute Midas, you know? Pretty much the dream of the Invoker, to be that Midas by 6-7 minutes, and now he's got 1600 gold.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy. So, yeah, that's kind of the question. Do you go right for the Necro book here, or are you going to go into the Yules?
I've seen a bunch of different builds recently, where Shreds are becoming more popular on Invoker just to have that little more mid-game power.
He's going to go Drum. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, just having that kind of incremental item in between, because usually, you know, you'd go Midas into Yules, the Blink into Ags, and it would all be kind of squishy items that allow you to be kills. Going for the Drum gives you so much tower pushing power with tower pushing potential with your Forge Spirits and the rest of your team. And
It's not just that you're going to push, it's the way that you're going to push.
Oh, that's
right?
nice.
If you just want to... Oh, that is actually quite pro. It's if you're going to push with your team, you're going to go Drums. If you're going to split push, you're going to go Necro Book.
Sure. Raw Sunstrike used on Sunlight at bottom lane. They're going to secure a kill. That more up to level 4.
I will wait more from good luck.
But Iceberg trapped on the side, hold the place, keeping him healed up, but they're going to turn around with the Dream Ball down on 2. Ramsey is something that's not always going to fly. The call down drops on one head. Ramsey has difficulty sticking on a target. Already killed up Iceberg. With the healing and sustain here from the Hand of God, they're going to try and chase down a couple more. And they're utterly on the hunt, looking for this Beastmaster, but they've got nothing really to catch him. Drag him back. Rubik's a little bit
where has this play been recently from Prodota? I mean, we commented at the beginning of the match. I've seen a couple of their replays recently, and I've just seen nothing even close to this from them. They spaced that fight just absolutely perfectly, isolating both the Gyrocopter and the Invoker in different paths in the Radiant jungle.
We've got to mention though, this is like the this is the 5-man push here from PD. I think often in their biggest games they'll always want to fly with a curse down onto Roger the Chen. He's being right-clicked out with Sunstrike.
Very nice.
It didn't really matter if the Gyro did finish him up. Power is still forfeited, but the trap Temple stunned. Ramsey, what a play out from the Chen, clearing up the Gyro, and Team Spirit. They're being pressured incredibly heavily.
This is why Chen is still, you gotta throw Earth Spirit out of the discussion, I guess. But other than that, Chen is still, to me, still easily the best hero in the patch. Maybe Vengeful Spirit you put up there as well.
I think with PD recently, their past sort of week and a half, 2 weeks of games, it always felt as though they tried to put the individual skill above teamwork. And it always felt they wanted to win their lanes and just, you know, win their 1v1s or 2v2s. And there wasn't much afterthought. There wasn't much, oh, what if X happens to change our plan? What if this dynamic situation changes, so we have to, you know, modify our strat? None of that happened in the past 2 weeks, whereas this game, it's changed from that to like, right, we'll just TP everyone in. We'll meet them head on head. If they send 3, we'll send 4. If they send 4, we'll send 5. If they send 5, we'll send our freaking courier to go to battle.
And look, I mean, honestly, the funny thing about that is that kind of a strategy can end up being more robust because of the comeback mechanic. Right? It's funny, but one of the things that you see with good teams that distinguishes Tier 1 from Tier 2 teams is that they'll always have a path to victory. Even if their primary strat sort of fails, they'll always have a way back into the game. And honestly, with a team like Prodota, if you can team fight decently well, if you can trade evenly, that's a win when you're behind.
Some good moves from Roger so far, but this Invoker, for the Drums, still yet to see what he's heading into. Bombing away.
That's the funny thing is that we saw that about how Prodota are playing these fights perfectly, but it's still Gyro and Invoker sitting atop that net worth board.
Yeah, they're still getting pretty massively outfarmed. Still a couple of Tier 1 standing, you know? I mean, you look at Team Spirit's map, they've pushed top and mid. As ED, a couple of Tier 1s still yet to be taken, and I think more importantly, it's the position of these Tier 1s, because they are the Tier 1s that control and safeguard the Dire jungle. That's something that PD really have to look to, you know, start encroaching into.
That's absolutely right. I mean, honestly, these Tier 1s, the top Tier 1 is Dire top Tier 1 is like the second valuable tower in the game. I mean, I think that as right now, if you're Team Spirit, that's the other thing about Team Spirit, and it's been a hallmark of Goblet for a long time, is that they love their Roshan. They're going to control the Rosh pit. They kill 1.5 Roshans per 35 minutes. That's highest of any team in the current patch. And I think right now what you're going to see, they're going to spend the next couple of minutes setting up. They're going to try and kill that Roshan before 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah, for sure. The Beastmaster scouting out. This little hawk over there. We did the Chen, the Satyr into the... I think, earlier on, but I don't know where it's gone. I think it might have died or bugged it off somewhere else. That's 2 Necro one-timing though for Beastmaster. 14 minutes in. Probably a signal that they want to go and fight. Got all the tools at their disposal. Gyrocopter though, trying to build into that S and Y. He's good on the net worth chart, but... Oh, needs to item him up and running if he really does want to do battle, and right now he's sitting top alone. Oak from PD is going to swing themselves across and straight on into him, but Ramsey, he knows the predicament he's in right there. He's got vision over this little area, so he maybe feels a little bit safer. It's the smoke move. Yeah, it's going to catch him off guard, but just look at the positioning of Spirit. Kind of baited them top with Ramses, while the rest of them both take out Roshan.
No, I mean, Spirit, you've seen this script for them so many times. When they're on and when they're doing well or winning in a match, that's just going to happen every time. They know their dire side positioning extremely well as a team, and this is really what won them, in my opinion, that slot at Shanghai.
Iceberg, is it Blink Dagger time? Blink, there we go. So Blink Forge, double Forge Spirit, the Cold Snap, the Ice Wall, all going to be dropped down on their heads. Just wondering though, there's different ways to go about this Invoker right now. You know, you can look for the combo play where you get the Winter's Curse and you wait for it to end to throw down Meatball plus Deafening Blast. Or you can just try and wrap around the other side of the fight. Like, let's say Winter's Curse is thrown for the Chen and the Morphling's caught, and then you go try and kill off like the Rubik's, try and find the puck, something like that. While the Gyrocopter is actually doing the meat of the battle. The rest of the heroes up at the front. Or, you know, you can just go for the split push.
Yeah, I just focus on the fact that regardless of the way he chooses to structure his combos in any one particular fight, the Aegis just has so much value because of the build he's gone. He's got that drums that basically give you the stat bonus twice, and he's got that Blink Dagger with Aegis he can now initiate without any fear or reprisal. His team has more than enough damage behind him.
When you look at the trades that PD are getting, they've taken the tier 1 top, sure, but that was already low HP. Which is Prophet shoving up tier 2. Gonna have to keep you back and defend this if they really want to mount an effort up against Iceberg, but it's just gonna be a mod golem, tossing out the little boulders, slowing down Iceberg, and then giving him his gold. PD, they did move their 2 supports down here while trying desperately to get this puck into a little more farm. Blink Dagger is up. Next itemization, I guess. You look into the Yule Scepter.
This is a little bit dangerous though by Iceberg. He very well may eat a death here.
Oh my god. Uh-oh. Are you in trouble? Who's in trouble more though? Afterlife the Urn will take him down, but this Nature's Prophet is picked up by Iceberg's Invoker, and meanwhile on the back end we saw always want to play Winter's Curse them out. The stolen Forge Spirit from Roger. Then a secondary kill. Beastmaster plus the Wyvern for a kill on that Nature's Prophet. Spirit a little overzealous in their aggression. Goldblack wasn't even available.
Yeah, I really was a little bit surprised. I focused on Iceberg there. Didn't necessarily expect Akmo to be that aggressive.
He doesn't catch Iceberg with the Dream Coil, but Goldblack is tanky. He's got a point booster. You can't kill this guy off with 1300 HP.
Yeah, unbelievable. That Vengeful Spirit only a few hundred gold behind the puck in net worth.
Oh, that's insane.
Puck's like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be able to blow that hero up.
Not happening. See, Iceberg's plan there, though, was to Sunstrike that puck as he came on in. Get a Deafening Blast out, finish her off with a Vent Stun. But lastly, was a little step ahead. Blinking forward, but are you going to be a step ahead of Ramses? Nice. Black Cannon, called down, is good. Forcing them back off the lane of the Sunstrike. Wouldn't have killed, but it wasn't far off.
I just like that play, even though not much is going to come of that fight. I like the way that Team Spirit, when they're on, when they have a lead, they just assert so much control over the enemy part of the map. They just bully you, which I think is something with the lineups that they like to pick and the way they like to play. I think that's something that you just have to do in order to get value out of your heroes.
Permanent step of intent, just continually forcing this push down on the PD.
Yeah, we're going to set up shop on your side of the map. What are you going to do about it? I mean, it's so much of high-level Dota. It sounds so simple, but so much of high-level Dota is just forcing the other team to be responding to you.
Yeah, and when PD, they have to respond like this. Blink forward aggressively onto Ramses, but he's a tanky devil. And why? And he's also got a haste up and running as well, so it's not like you're going to be able to chase him down. But if you do set up camp, let's say in the Radiant jungle and towards the Radiant mid lane, that forces both Morphling and Puck arm the Dire jungle. Kind of interested to see whether Team Spirit are going to start actually warding up their own jungle to see where this Morphling is. So you know that he's making replicates and he's actually farming this large camp.
And it's just it's
there we
funny
go.
because they're still farming, but you're also focusing the enemy team's 2 primary cores into an area of the map where there just aren't any important objectives.
A nice ward out for always want to fly. Exactly what I was looking for. And it's actually just offset from PD's Radiant ward over in the Dire jungle as well. Both teams know that it's kind of imperative to keep, for Radiant to keep themselves farming up here, but also for Spirit to stop and limit, maybe catch them while they're farming up on this lane. But the Sunlight, Lincoln has done, go for a bit of harassment to Ramses, not that he particularly cares, but his Helmet of Dominator just stands his ground, fights on through it. Sunlight, waveform, replicate away, back to Fountain he goes. Sure you don't get roared up, because Afterlife, you know, he's got no mana in the jungle, but maybe he could have picked his head out. Got an initiation on that Morphling.
Yeah, again, it's just so much of the things that we're saying, it just reminds me so much, you always have to look, the map is asymmetric in Dota, guys, that if you have both teams spending a lot of resources trying to control the other team's jungle, it's always an advantage for Dire.
It is profit. Gets sent back to base, and Roger even pops the mech there. Make sure there's no Sunstrike shenanigans.
Yeah, it's fine. Beastmaster now with the Necro 2, and it's funny that you're seeing so much value out of Spirit. Their heroes, their 3-5 heroes are sort of toward the bottom of the net worth chart, but their items are all giving them very important things in fights. I mean, Venge is going to have her Ags here, which makes her one of the best scaling supports into the late game.
It's still insane for me, 20 minutes in, that Goblak, without an Iron Talon, without a Midas, without anything like that, he has 71 last hits on a vengeful freaking Spirit. This is insane! Like, you never see this. He's meant to have like 15 last hits or something. Yeah, he's meant to have as many last hits as the Rubik has.
It's one of the, to me, it's one of the hidden benefits of so many of these CIS teams running Venge as a core. They know how to farm on this hero. They all know how to farm on this hero, even the support players.
Crazy stuff.
And look at this, I mean,
Roger.
4 heroes down here picking a fight, and Venge is farming the jungle.
Yeah. They've killed off his 10. See you, buddy. That was a good movement in. Yeah, I had a little bit of vision of him. And you're right, Goblak is literally just farming jungle. Level 4 wave, only one in the Vengeance Aura, but he'll be able to clear through these. I guess the fact he's level 11 as well doesn't hurt. You know, the level 2 swap is pretty good, but no Ether Lens, no nothing like that for the Vengeful Spirit.
This is one of, this is like what you ordinarily see really bad players doing in pubs, but you gotta look at it as a level 11 Vengeful Spirit with Ags at this point in the match. I mean, there's value there. It's actually a reasonable thing that they're doing in terms of resource prioritization.
Irvian, he wants his Ether Lens. Quickly as he possibly can to get that extended range. We want to be trying to lift and drag and steal out things like the Winter's Curse, but honestly, if Rubik steals a curse from Always Want to Fly and turns it back on to, let's say, the Invoker, that's huge for PD. I think Rubik really has to pay attention.
For exactly the reason that we were saying during the draft, that you all of a sudden have these ridiculous 2 auras working against you.
But now he's only got the Cold Embrace. He'll have to deal with that. Both teams kind of sitting back a little bit here and just farming through. Iceberg. Oh, Ags is done. Ags is done for both Venge and Invoker. The Necro 3, oh, it's just Team Spirit waiting for like the next seconds for all these items to come through. Double Ags in Necro 3, there's 2,000 gold on your gyro. I guess BKB's still a fair distance away. He's got S&Y health, he's fine with this. Next items, next Roche, and Team Spirit might be able to just tidal wave themselves into the enemy base.
Oh man, yeah, I think this is one of the things that you're seeing from Team Spirit. This is the reason why they're a cut above so many of the other CIS teams right now, is that they have a much better feel for timing windows. I mean, they're gonna fight for sure, but they're not necessarily all fight all the time. They're capable as a team of sitting back and saying, hey, we're about to have Ags on Invoker, Ags on Venge, Necro 3 on Beastmaster. We're going to have a window here of 5 minutes or so where we're way more powerful than the other team. Let's wait and take that fight when we both have that advantage and are going to be able to convert one fights into objectives.
Yeah, because right now this is the period where Sunlight has picked up his Ghost Scepter, kind of indicating that he's going into that Ethereal Blade. There's still another 3,000 gold to go until he's got the Eagle Song to finish it up, so there's a decent period here. Team Spirit can really, really strongly abuse Wolfling. In fact, he doesn't have too much teamfight capability, but you look at the Nature's Prophet, man. I didn't even realize he was going for this build. Aghanims after drums. Phase, drums, Ags.
Blame Moon Meander. Love you, dude. No, it wouldn't be Moon Meander until he goes the Octarine, right?
Yep.
But no, the other thing I really like, it's subtle, but the other thing I really like, Gyro having 1 point in the homing missile just to break the Morphling Lincoln.
Try and pop that out. I mean, they can do it with the Splinter Blast as well, but...
Yep.
Head creeps. Send them back to yourself. He's going to pick up 2, not going to get the 3rd, but Ramsey's jumped on by Sunlight. There's no replicate here. Team Spirit, they are wrapping
really,
in from the
really
east.
aggressive.
Oh, Ramsey's, he's just going to turn and fight with the rest of his team. If they can find someone and pick them off, Sunlight, waveform at the ready. No real opening.
It was smart. It was smart by Vasily not to commit there. If he commits, that's probably at least 2 deaths on his team.
This is where...
Thankfully, thank goodness for that ward. That River Radiant ward, that really saved their asses right there.
True. But my big question is to you now, how does PD stop this? Because wave clear is what, next profit plus punch?
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
This is very, very scary. Because it's just going to be push in here, then they push in bot, then they go take Roche. And there's very little that PD, like I'm not saying that Spirit go high ground 5 minutes in, but it's coming in
Honestly,
the next 5 minutes.
The biggest path I see back into the game, Always Wanna Fly should probably just never cast Winter's Curse right now for the rest of the match, because the biggest path that I see for PD back into the game is Rubik stealing and landing a huge Winter's Curse. That or maybe a perfect puck initiation. We're talking like 4-man Dream Coil and Waning Rift out of Vasily. Otherwise, you're right. It's very hard to see
on the money.
PD taking a fight, and yeah, that's just gonna happen at this point. Iceberg is just so big on Invoker with the boots to travel up that he can chase this Furion around the map and solo kill him.
That's the good shit right there. Iceberg, he found the Furion.
You're such an Invoker picker, Jerk. That's the good shit right there. I love it.
I just like the, I like the little hits in, the cold snap alacrity, and then landing the Sunstrike after the Sprout to block him out. I just enjoy Invoker. You know, I have to say that I was playing Invoker before he became a captured hero and people were spamming him in pubs. You can check my Dota buff, guys. No go.
As was I, but the difference is you were playing him well.
What? Come on, I was playing him at like a 5.5k level. You're playing him at a 4k level. It's not a massive difference.
Fair enough.
Oh, Vasily, 3-man control the top as well, but what's he gonna do with it? There's no one to follow up apart from the Jedi. Iceberg's got something to heal through. Not Black. He's nearly dead to Roshan, but it's Ramsey that turns around the fight against Sunlight. But Roshan gets died, finally taken out, picked up by the Invoker, and Iceberg gets his hands on the Aegis Immortal. And Team Spirit come out, killing off 3, but it looked good from PD.
I think you had to do that. Honestly, I mean, you're down 10k before that fight.
The swap of the freaking illusion, the Vengeful Spirit. Oh no!
Look, guys, like Twitch chat is going to be memeing all over the place after that. But honestly, what better engagement are you going to get than that opportunity right there? I think there is such a thing as a good lost fight, and I don't think you're going to have a better chance for an initiation right there if you just let that Roche go by uncontested. Team Spirit just wins the game by attrition.
Yeah, absolutely. One of those damned if you do, damned if you don't situations, though, with the lead that Team Spirit has. But like, you can't call that a mistake by PD. I fully agree with you. It's something that they had to do. If it works, it works. If it fails miserably, well, they just pick themselves back up and try again in a couple of minutes. They've at least withheld from that aggressive play from Team Spirit for a minute or so while they kind of recoup, push out this top lane and get the lane equilibrium back to where it needs to be. But that's what the Nature's Prophet is here for. Yeah. His Agony Scepter.
I think when you're watching games like this, when you're watching tier 2 teams, those are the kind of plays that I really like to see, because you're gonna be playing teams that are better than you, and the question I think you have to ask is, are you making the plays? Are you giving yourself the best chance you can to win the game, even if you're down? And so I like to see plays like that, even if it's a lost fight.
Altering short. I'm just looking at this Invoker and, rubbing my hands together, thinking, oh, I want to play Invoker now. This 28 minutes in, I said the Midas time was, pretty much the dream. Getting it anywhere between 5 and 8 minutes is like, yeah, that's pretty damn good. Because sometimes your Invoker player is like, guys, it's 14 minutes in, I've nearly got Midas, but it's not going well. And everything kind of topples down from there. But skipping over the Yules, skipping over like these kind of mid-game, quote-unquote kill-helping items, just gone straight in for the late game. Or at least the mid game, I guess. But late game for them is finishing by 35.
I mean, just for those of you looking to learn Invoker in pubs, I mean, I love Yule's so much because there's just no better feeling than that Yule's Meteor Blast combo, but you have to be confident. You have to be able to land your spell combos without that Yule's in some games, and Iceberg, I think you're right. It's the perfect decision right now, as far ahead as his team is.
Oh, and down the bottom, they found a little split pusher. Not such a sneaky devil when the torch and boars and necro units and blinking heroes able to scout your every movement.
Yeah, that's just another thing that this lineup from Team Spirit is just, once you get any kind of map control, this lineup is just so good at consolidating. Yeah, Sunlight has his E-Blade right now, but what's it really going to do in these fights? There's not really any one hero that he can just go in and blow up.
Always Wanna Fly has Cold Embrace, Glimmer Cape, and soon to have Mech. So that E-Blade from the Morphling, if he's anywhere near the Winter Wyvern, target's just going to get healed up and glimmered. It's kind of difficult for Sunlight to go and find a target he can kill. Beastmouth is tanky. Gyrocopter with BKB is pretty much an impossibility. And then there's Invoker with, Aegis for quite some time.
It reminds me of this game that Toby was casting yesterday. Yeah, look, I mean, the Morphling feels he has to replicate out even after facing a Winter Wyvern alone. But it reminds me of that game that Toby cast yesterday when I think Enigma didn't cast a Black Hole the entire game. I mean, Winter's Curse is arguably Always Wanna Fly's least important spell right now.
Oh man. Iceberg, what you up to? Nado? For the combo. See, look, the E-Blade barely does any damage. It tickles Iceberg. Like, sure enough, he's not on max agi. But without a Manta, without Butterfly or Skadi, anything to really ramp up your stats, Sunlight is just a couple of steps behind.
All you need to know about this game is that there's 30 minutes and Invoker is sitting with a Drum of Endurance in his stash.
I mean, why not? Not gonna sell it, it's a memento. You bought that drum for posterity, for the good old days.
Hey, it doesn't have any charges anyway, right?
Of course not. Hang it up on his wall, it's memento now. Well, Rack's falling, Glyph is here for Prodota, if they choose to push the button. For now, it looks like they're just going to give this up and maybe defend tier 3 mid. Spirit, without immunity, just push up onto high ground, cheating! Or at least it seems that way as Sunlight takes out the Invoker's first life at long last. Getting something for their troubles, but that Glyph feels massively wasted. Yeah. I'm not even sure why you glyphed there. I mean, it was being hit by creeps.
Yeah, your guess is most likely better than mine about that.
Yeah, I think that's an oopsie.
I looked at that and I actually heard that and checked Dire building to see if maybe Dire.
Yeah, I looked up and I was like, right, Nature's probably pushing. It must be them, right? And then I see this gold glimmer on the Radiant buildings and think, see, that was a mistake. Well, one laner Rack's down. It's never over with the Nature's Prophet on your team. Even if Afterlife is eyeing up this Sunlight Morphling. Link, Raw, Necro 3s, he's prepping, he's going to jump in, pops the Lincoln with the little mana burn and Sunlight getting taken out. He's got a waveform available, but with Iceberg and Ramsey joining in, he shouldn't really have a chance in hell to escape out of that.
Even with 4k max HP.
God. Even with. Well, it looks like the beginning of the end here for PD. I mean, they're trying to shove out these other lanes. It's kind of interesting spirits. Like, I guess it's just a matter of fact that Morphling was bot, and now they're pushing bot, but they can just swing into mid as this lane reaches into the base and down the bottom lane. Tier 3 mid with no glyph, and they know the fact there's no glyph. Able to walk up to this high ground with everyone. PD really defends it. Buy back the Morphling. He's really going to accomplish. He's got to morph back into Agi as quickly as he possibly can. And who's his target? Who does he aim for? Ramsey, he's glimmered up with a heal. The Dream Coil from Vasily comes through, but the swap back, and now the call down. He won't land it onto anyone. PD do spread their wings and flap away, but it's Fervian that takes the full meatball to the face. As Team Spirit, they've split the ball up. The Vasily here with a meatball. Iceberg helping to herd them back into their fountain as GG's call. Team Spirit. Relatively simple best of one.
Yeah, and this has really been when Team Spirit has been winning. This has been their formula in almost every game. They're going to get Iceberg off to a good start. They're going to have Ramses on a do-stuff hero. They're going to 5-man relatively early, take that Roche just before the 20-minute mark, and just win the game at 35 minutes. It's really kind of neat to see. This team clearly has a formula that works for them, and they've struggled against international competition. But people need to keep in mind this is still a relatively new team. game. I think they still have a lot of room to improve.
Right, so while Nahaz and I go and watch replays of Invoker and, you know, enjoy ourselves, all little clips and little plays. We love Iceberg, we love Invoker. We are really weird old people that enjoy playing the blonde ego magician. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Actually, I just have to check my calendar, check the schedule. It is a couple of minutes, right? Yeah.